The Pacific Ocean, it is truly enormous. It covers more of our planet than all the continents combined. Imagine an expanse of blue stretching for thousands upon thousands of miles. This vast water world was once a great unknown, a seemingly endless barrier to human exploration. Yet for one group of people it was a highway, a network of paths leading to new homes. These were the Polynesians, masters of the ocean. Their understanding of its rhythms was profound. These remarkable people achieved some of the most impressive feats of exploration in human history. They set out in magnificent double-hulled canoes known as waka or va. These vessels were strong and stable, ingeniously built for long journeys across open water. They carried families, vital plants like taro and breadfruit, and domestic animals such as pigs and chickens. Their mission was to find and settle new islands, specks of land scattered across the immense sea. They traveled across immense distances, far greater than many contemporary civilizations dared. This was long before European explorers ventured into these waters with their own sophisticated instruments. The courage and skill of the Polynesians were simply extraordinary. The challenges they faced were immense, almost unimaginable to us today. Imagine being on a relatively small wooden canoe crafted by hand. The boundless ocean all around you with no sight of land for weeks, perhaps even months. They faced powerful storms that could appear with little warning and unpredictable currents that could pull them off course. They needed to find fresh water and food to sustain themselves throughout their arduous journey. And most importantly, they needed to know precisely where they were going and how to return if necessary. Without maps or compasses as we understand them, their very survival depended entirely on their accumulated knowledge and their skillfully crafted tools. Their skill was their lifeline in this watery wilderness. So how did they accomplish such astonishing feats? How did these ancient mariners conquer the largest ocean on Earth? They relied on a deep, almost symbiotic understanding of nature. They developed ingenious tools and techniques, born from necessity and refined over countless generations of experience. These survival hacks, as we might refer to them today, were truly astonishing in their effectiveness and simplicity. Let us now delve into the fascinating world of Polynesian ingenuity. Let us explore the secrets to their incredible survival, their successful voyages, and their ability to build thriving communities in isolated island paradises. Navigation was perhaps their most vital skill, the cornerstone of their oceanic civilization. The Polynesians were expert astronomers long before the term was widely used elsewhere. They used the stars as a celestial map, a reliable guide across the dark, empty ocean. At night, the familiar patterns of constellations and the individual stars within them guided their way. They possessed an intricate knowledge of the paths of stars as they rose from the eastern horizon and set in the west. Specific stars, when at certain points in their arc, would indicate due east or west. Other stars helped them maintain a consistent latitude, ensuring they sailed along a straight line. This star compass was incredibly reliable, a constant companion in the silent darkness of the Pacific night. But what about during the bright daylight hours, or when persistent clouds obscured the guiding stars? The Polynesians had other methods. They learned to read the ocean itself. They understood the complex patterns of ocean swells. These are long, rolling waves, often generated by distant storms thousands of miles away. Unlike wind-driven waves, swells can travel for immense distances across the ocean. They maintain a remarkably consistent direction. Experienced navigators, trained from a young age, could feel these subtle movements and changes in rhythm through the hull of their canoes. They could also observe how swells refracted or bent around islands. This subtle change in wave patterns told them that land was near, often long before it became visible to the naked eye. The Polynesians were also keen observers of wildlife and atmospheric phenomena. The flight patterns of certain species of seabirds were crucial indicators of land. Some birds, like the frigate bird or the booby, fly out to sea in the morning to feed and then reliably return to their island roosts in the evening. Following their homeward flight path could lead a canoe directly to an unseen island. They also studied cloud formations with great care. Stationary clouds, or those that appeared to hang over a particular spot, often signaled the presence of land masses beneath them. Clouds with a greenish tinge on their underside could indicate the reflection of shallow lagoons, another sign of nearby land. Even the smell of vegetation carried on the wind, or the presence of land-based debris floating in the water, provided valuable clues to the observant navigator. These diverse techniques, meticulously passed down through generations via oral tradition and practical training, were incredibly sophisticated. They were not mere guesswork, they formed a complex, integrated system of knowledge. This system allowed Polynesian navigators to pinpoint tiny, isolated islands scattered across the vastness of the Pacific Ocean. They created detailed mental maps, memorizing hundreds of star paths, swell patterns, and island locations. This extraordinary skill allowed them to travel between distant islands reliably and safely. It connected their widespread communities across the enormous ocean, fostering trade and cultural exchange. In essence, their minds, filled with this ancestral wisdom, were their most powerful and indispensable navigational tools. Once they reached an island, or even during the long and arduous voyages between them, finding a reliable source of food was absolutely paramount for survival. The ocean, their constant companion and pathway, was also a bountiful provider of sustenance. Polynesian fishermen were incredibly skilled and resourceful. They crafted ingenious fishing hooks from a variety of readily available natural materials. Bone, particularly human bone from revered ancestors, or animal bone, was often used for its strength and durability. Shells such as mother-of-pearl or black-lipped pearl oyster shell were also prized. Their iridescent quality effectively attracted fish in the clear tropical waters. Wood, carefully selected and hardened, was also shaped into effective hooks. Each hook was meticulously designed and sized for catching specific types of fish. Beyond simple hooks and lines, they employed a wide range of other clever methods for catching various forms of marine life. They wove strong nets from plant fibers, such as those from the coconut husk, koa, or the inner bark of the hibiscus tree. These nets could be of various sizes. Some were small hand nets, while others were large seine nets, requiring several people to deploy them for catching schools of fish in lagoons or near reefs. They also constructed ingenious fish traps in shallow waters or estuaries. These were often V-shaped or circular enclosures made from stone or wooden stakes, designed so that fish would swim into them at high tide and then become trapped as the tide receded. Spears, tipped with sharp-boned stingray barbs or fire-hardened wood, were expertly used for spearfishing in the crystal-clear lagoon waters, a common and effective practice. While fish was undoubtedly a staple of the Polynesian diet, they also skillfully utilized resources from the land. On many of the larger vegetated islands, they hunted birds, particularly flightless or ground-nesting species where available. They used snares, nets, and sometimes simple bows and arrows, though the latter was less common across all Polynesian cultures compared to Melanesia. More significantly, they were agriculturalists who brought with them essential food plants and domesticated animals on their voyaging canoes. Pigs, dogs, which were also eaten in some areas, and chickens were transported across the ocean, providing a valuable and sustainable source of protein once a new settlement was established. Gathering edible wild plants, fruits, nuts, and tubers also formed a vital part of their diet, complementing the rich bounty harvested from the sea. These diverse tools and sophisticated techniques for hunting, fishing, and gathering were absolutely essential for survival. They ensured a consistent and varied supply of food for the island communities. This was crucial not only for sustaining daily life on the islands themselves, but also for provisioning their voyaging canoes for the long and demanding journeys of exploration and settlement. The ability to efficiently harvest resources from both the land and the sea demonstrated their deep, intimate understanding of their environment and its delicate ecosystems. It clearly showed their remarkable adaptability and resourcefulness in a wide range of diverse island settings. Their ingenuity in creating these life-sustaining tools from natural materials was truly remarkable and central to their success. Polynesian daily life was intricately interwoven with the natural resources that surrounded them, and their ingenuity extended far beyond just navigation and food procurement. Weaving itself was a fundamental skill, a craft passed down through generations, primarily by women. They were expert weavers, transforming plant fibers into a multitude of essential items. They used fibers from plants like pandanus leaves, which were stripped, dried, and sometimes softened, as well as the inner bark of the hibiscus tree, FAO. They created strong, durable mats which were used for sleeping, for sitting upon, and as floor coverings within their homes, fail or hair. Sails for their magnificent voyaging canoes were also meticulously woven, often from treated pandanus leaves, creating large, efficient triangular surfaces to catch the wind and propel them across the ocean. Baskets of all shapes and sizes were woven for carrying food, tools, clothing, and other precious goods. For preparing food and for construction, they developed a range of practical and highly effective tools. Stone adzes, known as toki, were vital instruments crafted from hard, dense volcanic rocks like basalt or other suitable stones found on the islands. These stones were painstakingly shaped and sharpened by grinding them against other abrasive rocks. These adzes were used for felling trees, for the intricate carving of canoes from massive tree trunks, and for shaping wooden posts and beams for their houses. Cooking was often done in an umu or imu, a traditional earth oven. This involved heating stones in a pit until they were extremely hot, placing food, such as pork, fish, taro, or breadfruit, wrapped in large leaves like tai or banana leaves on the hot stones, and then covering it all with more leaves and earth to cook slowly and evenly, steaming in its own juices. Simple yet highly effective pottery was rare in much of eastern Polynesia, but carved wooden bowls, coconut shell cups, and gourds were commonly used for storing, serving, and consuming food and water. Clothing, too, was ingeniously created from natural materials readily available in their island environment. One of the most distinctive Polynesian textiles is tapa cloth, known as siapo in Samoa, or kapa in Hawaii. This remarkable fabric was made from the inner bark of trees like the paper mulberry, which was often cultivated specifically for this purpose. The bark was carefully stripped from the tree, soaked, and then laid out on a smooth wooden anvil and beaten with specially carved wooden mallets or beaters. This beating process caused the fibers to spread and felt together, creating soft, pliable sheets of cloth. These sheets could then be joined to make larger pieces, and were often decorated with intricate geometric patterns and motifs, using natural dyes derived from plants and earth pigments. In some regions, skirts, capes, and other garments were also woven from plant fibers, such as tai leaves, flax in New Zealand, or hibiscus bark, providing practical and sometimes highly ornate ceremonial attire perfectly suited to the tropical climate. The diverse array of survival tools and sophisticated techniques developed by the ancient Polynesians reveals a culture of profound ingenuity and remarkable creativity. They demonstrate an extraordinary resilience and adaptability in the face of what was often a challenging and unforgiving environment. Their deep, holistic understanding of the natural world, the stars, the ocean currents, the behavior of animals, and the properties of plants allowed them to not just survive, but to thrive. They successfully navigated the vast Pacific, colonized remote islands, and established vibrant, complex societies. From their meticulously constructed star compasses and wave-reading skills to their cleverly designed bone fishhooks and intricately woven sails, every item, every technique was a testament to their exceptional skill and accumulated wisdom. This incredible legacy of resourcefulness, innovation, and deep connection to nature continues to inspire awe and admiration across the globe today.